My stepsister is marrying my ex-boyfriend and she needs me to attend and pretend I'm cool with her because people are giving her a hard time for hurting me. My 25 female stepsister, 23 female, is getting married to my ex, 26 male. We were as close as any two sisters growing up. My mom and her dad met when we were 8 and 6, and we got along really well from the get-go. My ex-boyfriend and I broke up 2 years ago. He cheated on me and I found out about it a week after he proposed to me. 5 to 6 months later, stepsister told me that she and ex-boyfriend have started dating. I couldn't believe my ears. I was very angry at her. But the rest of the family, mom, stepdad, and 2 half-sisters, didn't think it was a betrayal at all. And my mom once yelled at me to grow up and move on. I gradually distanced myself from my stepsister without making a fuss. I just poured myself into my studies instead and hid behind the "I'm swamped" excuse. I started dating my current boyfriend, 25 male, about 10 months ago. The only problem is that stepsister used to have a huge crush on him, and she still to this day text and DM him. They never dated. I haven't told anyone in my family that I'm seeing someone. Stepsister and ex-boyfriend got engaged, and they have sent the wedding invitations last month. Wedding in June. I didn't RSVP because I don't want to attend. Last week, mom asked me to visit. When I got there, mom was waiting with stepsister, her BFF, and maid of honor. My half-sister is an ex-boyfriend's sister. It was an intervention. My mom started by saying that I needed to stop alienating myself from everybody and get over the hurt. Stepsister is getting married and she wanted me as a bridesmaid. I told them no. Stepsister started crying, saying I'm ruining her wedding. She asked if it has to do with me not having a +1, because she could pair me with one of her ex-boyfriend's single best men, and I wouldn't feel lonely then. I got really angry and told her I didn't want to go to her wedding because I don't like her. She started crying again, calling me bitter and a hag for purposefully wanting to hurt her on her big day. I left. My mom called me later saying if I didn't show up, at least as a guest, I'm cut off the whole family. You see, they need me there so people see there's no hard feelings between us, and that I have blessed their marriage, because she has been getting a whole lot of grief from the family for what she did to me. I'm so angry now. What's between stepsister and I is broken beyond repair. Why is it so hard for them to understand? Plus, I do have a +1 should I decide to turn up, and stepsister would regret the day she invited me then. I have half a mind to do it and ruin her day. I love my mom and my sisters, but I'm tired of them choosing my stepsister's side. And I know mom is serious that she would cut me off if I didn't attend. She loves my stepdad very much, and upsetting stepsister means upsetting him. Any advice on how to tackle this? Because however I turned it, I am the loser. Now for the top advice. Screw them. I wouldn't go. They'll all cut you off if you don't go? Awesome. Let the trash take itself out. I need to reach this point of not caring if my family goes no contact with me. A family that would even make a threat like this is a family not worth staying in contact with. They are awful and dysfunctional and filled with hate. At this point, tell your mom that if her stepdaughter means more to her than you, her own daughter, then she can go screw herself and you no longer consider her your mother. Also tell her that family does not get into a relationship with another family member's ex. Especially after that ex cheated. Also tell her that there is something mentally wrong with your ex for still wanting to be part of the family. Please don't give in and go. They're desperate to have you there because what you did was socially unacceptable. And in order to not look like she was involved with him prior to your breakup / backstabbing sister, she needs you to turn up with a smile and prove it's okay. But don't, because it's not. And I doubt very much that they'll cut you off if they are this desperate for you to forgive them. That's the rumor that's going around apparently. That he cheated on me with her, and by having me as a bridesmaid, stepsister is trying to save face. I don't know why she cares really. Am I reading your original post correctly that stepsister is currently texting your current boyfriend who is her ex-crush? If that's correct, then stepsister wanting you to attend the wedding is not about your approval. It's about stepsister wanting to win in some weird competition she has with you. She doesn't know I'm dating her old crush, but yes, she still reached out to him. I'm not ready to introduce him yet to my family because I'm enjoying our relationship and I'm not ready for their reaction. Treat yourself to an amazing vacation on the day of her wedding. If your mother would cut you off, let them. I know it's the right thing to do. I just love my family. Next story. I ruined my sister's relationship by telling the truth about her past to her boyfriend. Me, 22 male, and my sister, 24 female, have never had a good relationship. She was always the problem child, and she has even worse relationship with our parents. During her time in high school, she picked up a lot of bad habits. She started hanging out with the wrong people, started skipping school, started trying substances, and sneaking out from home and lying to our parents all the time. She was also really good at manipulating guys. She was always seeing multiple guys at once, had a lot of boyfriends, and cheated on most of them. It was getting worse over time. It started with bad grades, then stealing money from our parents. It even got to a point when my dad had to pick her up from police station where she was high in a holding cell. She wasn't addicted or anything, but she was using sometimes. Our parents tried hard to help her, get her to counseling or therapy sessions, but it was pointless. When she dropped out of high school for the second time, they finally had enough and kicked her out. That was 4 years ago, and we haven't heard from her since. Until now. About 3 months ago, it was my birthday, and out of nowhere, I got a nice wish card from her. We started texting and calling for some time, and she agreed to visit me and our parents. She came home last Friday for a weekend and brought her boyfriend with her. She told us she turned her life around. She's working as a caretaker, got her own apartment, car, and everything. It was really nice to talk to her after such a long time, and our parents were so proud of her. It was great. While she was talking with my parents, I started chatting with her boyfriend. He told me they were together for about a year now and they are really happy. He's a really nice guy. When we got deeper into the conversation, he admitted that he was afraid to meet us, but is relieved because we are actually really nice. I asked why he would be afraid, and he told me that my sister described us as really bad people who forced her out of her home when she was young. We talked about it more and she told him so many lies and twisted up pretty much everything, and didn't even mention what she had put our parents through. She even told him that he was the second guy she has ever slept with, which is such a BS. She could have easily been with more than 30 guys. I couldn't handle it anymore and I told the poor guy the truth, and described everything from my point of view. Next morning, my sister and him had a really bad argument, and he broke up with her and left. She was furious with me. She told me she finally found a guy she loved and I ruined everything. She said she was lying to him because she was so embarrassed of her past self and was afraid he wouldn't want her anymore if he knew. She said she changed so much and is a completely different person and wanted to put her past behind her. I feel really bad now because I saw her after such a long time and she was finally happy. I didn't want to lie to him, but now I know it wasn't really my business to tell him everything. I want to fix this and still be able to talk to my sister, but I don't really know how. Your sister made you all out to be the terrible people and lied to her boyfriend. Although she is in the wrong, there is no fixing this. She's going to blame you even though her issues and lies caused this. There's not much you can do to fix this other than give it time. Yeah, it doesn't seem like she's changed a lot. Maybe she's gotten rid of the addictions, but the personality is still there. Nah, she got caught in a lie. She could have just said I have a past I don't want to talk about, and left it at that. She said she was lying to him because she was so embarrassed of her past self and was afraid he wouldn't want her anymore if he knew. She said she changed so much. It is a completely different person and wanted to put her past behind her. She didn't really change. Even if she was going to cover up her past, she didn't need to do it by painting her family's monsters. Next story is titled, I'm withholding wedding money unless my fiancé kicks her maid of honor out of the wedding party. Me, 26 male, and Morgan, 26 female, have been dating for 3 years and engaged now for 6 months. We were best friends in college and decided to start dating after we graduated. This whole argument is something that has festered for years. Morgan has a tight friend group of 3 other girls, been best friends since the 4th grade. Kyla and Maddie are awesome, and I have a good relationship with them / their boyfriends. The last friend, on the other hand, Brooklyn, I can't stand. We have never liked each other. She's rude, entitled, and always thinks her input is needed in our relationship. She has told Morgan to break up with me multiple times, said our marriage would fail. The other friends aren't like this and have even told Brooklyn to mind her own business. She blames me for her relationship issues too. She's a single mom, and is so because I introduced her to a guy I played softball with. I said he was a good guy. They dated, she got pregnant, and he split. Time comes to set our guest list and Morgan informs me she wants 3 maid of honors. She couldn't choose between her friends, so she will split up the duties between them, with Brooklyn doing the toast. I outright refused this, and I told her I didn't want Brooklyn in the wedding party at all. Morgan got upset, asking why. I told her I didn't want someone who has talked down to me / our relationship being at a party, let alone giving a speech. Morgan said it's my best friend. She's coming to my wedding. I said fine, she can get an invite, but she isn't in the wedding party. I want to spend as little time with Brooklyn as I could and didn't want her at a rehearsal / party buzz. I also don't want my wedding pictures to include someone I hate. Morgan won't accept this and tells me that Brooklyn will be in the wedding party. I say fine then. My parents / grandma's money isn't being used for it then. Backstory. My parents / grandma were financing a lot of our wedding just like they did for my sister. I make good money and so does Morgan, but not enough to afford the kind of wedding we were planning. I said I'm not asking my family to finance a wedding where my feelings aren't being taken into consideration. Her friends and her extended family, her parents hate Brooklyn too, have called me a-hole for this ultimatum. Now for the top advice. I think your marriage is doomed before it starts. I hate everything about this train wreck. I wish I had advice for you, Opie. I really do. Sounds like she just wants a wedding, not a marriage. Opie ain't doing the best either. Bridesmaids are picked by the bride. This wouldn't be the first wedding with people who hate each other in it. For instance, nearly every divorced family. Opie should have handled this better. Marriage is a two-way street. You should consider rephrasing, I think. Focusing less on I hate her and more on it feels wrong when she has openly said she doesn't support our marriage. And maybe you also ought to volunteer yourself to have the conversation with Brooklyn, so the responsibility doesn't end up on your fiancé. Reassure her that you support her and understand she wants her friend at the wedding, but that it would upset you to have her stood up there with you when she has doomed your marriage to fail. Indeed, it is a matter of phrasing, Opie. This lady has openly said your marriage will not work. What kind of toast does your fiancé expect her to give? You need to sit down and talk about what you want your marriage to look like with your fiancé. A wedding is just an expensive party. Just one day and it will not be a perfect one. A lot of things will go wrong. You also need to focus on what comes after, the life you're building together. Have you sat down and had important discussions about life, kids, religion, major illness, moving for a dream career? You can't assume you're both on the same page. You have to hash it out. You can Google important things to ask before marriage. You'll get many results with roughly the same 25-ish things you should discuss. The thing is that this is a bigger problem than Brooklyn being a maid of honor. She's a package deal with your future wife. She's guaranteed, and weddings bring out the absolute worst in people. You need to have a discussion about expectations now. You don't need a 5-year plan or anything, but you need to know that you're on the same page. You're already starting your lives together off at a horrible place. Your wife has more loyalty to her friend that hates you, and you're not afraid to take away her dreams if you can use them as leverage. Is this a couple that is ready to face a lifetime of challenges together? This isn't a super challenging situation, and you two can't figure out how to face it head-on together. Consider postponing your wedding and getting premarital couples counseling. Last story. My girlfriend found a proposal ring that was not meant for her. My girlfriend and I are both 28 and have been in a relationship for 4 years. We have had our ups and downs, but we love each other very much. Early this year, we had an unplanned pregnancy that gave her a lot of medical issues that resulted in the loss of our son. We knew we would eventually get married, but after this, we were very sure that it's what we both want soon. Unfortunately, circumstances did not allow at that moment. My business couldn't survive last year, and my now job and hers can barely cover the minimum. But hey, story for another day. Now, the issue is my friend, who I will refer to as Frank, asked me to hide the ring he wanted to propose to his girlfriend with. I obliged and swore to not tell my girlfriend, as our girlfriends are pretty close and he wanted it to be a total surprise. Now, a few days ago, it was my girlfriend's birthday and her parents hosted a small lunch. Frank's girlfriend was there, but Frank was not. From my side, everything went well. But as the day concluded, my girlfriend was looking very withdrawn. When we got to our place, I asked her if everything was okay, and I wasn't prepared for what came. She apparently saw the ring and assumed it was for her, told her family and close friends. In short, everyone at our celebration assumed I was going to propose. Currently, everything has been clarified and my girlfriend understands, but I can see she's heartbroken. My question is, how can I make it better for her? Is there anything I can do to help the situation? I feel really bad for her, especially since I really do want to marry her. I'm going to say what might end up being unpopular. Please do not give this girl a pity proposal. She deserves more than that. And specifically, she deserves for you to have done it 100% because it's what you wanted in spite of any circumstances, not because of the circumstances. Maybe rather get her a promise ring, or other promise jewelry if you feel so strongly about marrying her. I agree with this entirely. Even just a nice date night, a conversation to reassure her that you do eventually want to marry her but when the time is right and you want it to be special. Be extra gentle with her and reassuring for a few weeks. Editing to add, maybe if you have to hide a ring for a friend, tell her. Even if your friend says not to, she's your partner. You wouldn't even need to say who. Hey, I want to warn you, I'm holding an engagement ring for someone. So, if you see it, that's what it is. I cannot understand the sheer number of people here telling you to propose. Absolutely the worst reaction to the situation. She will likely be insecure that she made you propose once emotions are settled. Top comment is totally right. But wanting to marry someone one day is not the same as being ready to propose. Oh, thanks. I know that if I was proposed to in this situation, it would 100% never sit right with me. And I might even say no because of it. Maybe she shouldn't have told everyone you were going to propose before you did? She's embarrassed, I bet. I don't see how that is helpful at all. I hope he asked for advice. I know Reddit can be black and white, but this just seems like such an overreaction. She got excited and told people she found a ring. If I had found it, I probably would have assumed the same thing. People aren't perfect. Instead of shaming the girlfriend for making a mistake, he should just talk to her about it.
Update. Am I the a-hole for just refusing to cook for my wife at this point? Original post. I am 39 male. My wife Jennifer is 37. We have been married for 8 years, and we have 2 children. I work full-time, and Jennifer is a stay-at-home mom. She's a wonderful mother to our children, but one thing she does not like to do is cook. This works out just fine for me, as I generally get off work by 4:30, and I happen to be a phenomenal cook. My father was a chef, and I've been cooking since I was 10 years old. I also worked as a line cook for several years. Virtually everyone loves my cooking. When we have company, it gets rave reviews. Our children always ask for seconds. I put a lot into it, and I take pride in my cooking skills. The only person who doesn't like it is Jennifer. She complains endlessly. Too salty, too much pepper. This is undercooked. She also backseat cooks a lot, where I'll be in the kitchen making something, and she won't shut up about what I should be doing differently. The worst part though is that she'll frequently insult my cooking and then go get garbage like a Hot Pocket or a frozen dinner from the freezer. Last Wednesday, I made Salisbury steaks with mushroom gravy, cream cheese mashed potatoes, and roasted asparagus. When I put Jennifer's plate in front of her, she made a disgusted face. She poked at her Salisbury steak for a few seconds, took the tiniest bite imaginable, then made an exaggerated retching sound, dramatically threw her fork on the plate, and went to heat up a microwave burrito. I just snapped. I didn't say anything at the time because our children were there, but I was completely done. The next day, I made teriyaki bowls with broccoli. Jennifer sat at the table waiting for hers, and I informed her that I was done cooking for her. When she asked why, I told her it was a waste of food and that she should just go have a Hot Pocket. Jennifer is furious that I won't cook for her, and she says that instead of giving up, I should try a bit harder. I think she should just subsist on whatever microwavable slop she likes and stop complaining. Did I escalate too much here? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. She created this dynamic. Just make sure you and your babies are fed. She doesn't deserve your food, especially since she's being negative on purpose. One thing that I take very seriously is how my boys eat. My wife and I are very fortunate to be able to afford good ingredients, so I spend probably more than necessary on food for them. My older boy says he always looks forward to his lunchbox at kindergarten. I'm appalled by her behavior in itself. Does she do this in front of your kids? There's so many things wrong with this. I would simply serve her a burrito or a Hot Pocket going forward. Not the a-hole for the fact that cooking is a part of her duty as a wife, especially since she is a housewife. She should be nothing but grateful that you come home after a long day of work and cook good meals for her and your family. You should tell her to learn how to cook and start making dinner if she doesn't like your cooking. It's not for you to try a bit harder. I'm sure you work hard enough supporting your family and being present in their lives. It's not your job. You have a job, which allows her to not have to learn yours or go get one. She's ungrateful and entitled, seemingly. I've often wondered if it was insecurity on her part. Maybe since she doesn't cook well, my cooking well is a blow to her self-confidence? She is 100% trying to tear you down because it makes her feel better. Being insecure is normal, but this is not how to deal with it. This is borderline emotional abuse. And you can tell that from her reaction. If she just didn't like home cooking and genuinely thought it was gross, she'd at least be polite or ask you not to cook for her. But she wants you to feed her, so that she has opportunities to harshly put you down, like negging. Be careful, OP. Edit. Thank you for the comments. Unfortunately, people are sending me harassment through private messages, and many of these people come from the same community that has cross-posted this multiple times. I'm going to abandon this Reddit account, although in the unlikely scenario that I post an update, I may use it again. I'm just exhausted from reading comments about how I'm supposedly a terrible father for not making the right food for my children, and how my wife must be right about my cooking. I am no longer reading responses and DMs. Now for the update. About a month ago, I posted here about something that happened over dinner one night. My wife, Jennifer, literally retched at my cooking, despite taking the tiniest bite imaginable. After that, I refused to cook for her, which made her very angry. It was this bizarre disconnect between her thinking my food was trash, not fit for a compost bin, but still demanding that I continue making it for her anyway. I was hesitant to update because, for some reason beyond my understanding, I received about a dozen hate-filled direct messages after my last post. They were all being sent from users of a parody community of this one. I have no idea what I did to make so many people upset, but a lot of people have asked me for an update, so I figured I'd give one. Anyway, the last month has been really eye-opening for me. I had long ago noticed that Jennifer was highly critical of my cooking, but over this time, I've come to realize that she's really critical of just about everything I do. For example, 2 weeks ago, I was walking outside with her. I'm pigeon-toed and have been since I was a baby, although it's a lot better now. Jennifer asked why I was walking with my toes slightly pointed in, and when I remind her that I'm pigeon-toed, she responded in an exasperated tone. "Well, why don't you just try walking with your feet straight?" Yes, thank you. My literal bone issue was just magically cured by your advice. I never realized that the solution to something I have suffered from for nearly 40 years was staring me right in the face. At least now if I ever get cancer, I can just get rid of it by deciding not to have cancer. You see, I never really noticed how critical she is towards me in virtually everything I do. She's just more forward about my cooking. For example, when she walks into my home office, she always scrunches up her face in this really displeased way. I don't think she likes the interior, which I designed, because she wants nothing but white and gray in every room in the house. Whenever I try to do the laundry, she'll hear me open the washing machine door and beeline over to backseat me through the whole process. This is coming from a woman who once ruined a $1,500 suit of mine because she thought bleach would be the perfect stain remover, by the way. When I was explaining an issue I had with a colleague to her, she took my colleague's side, despite my colleague being objectively in the wrong from an industry standpoint. My wife was adamant, though. I must have been the one to screw things up. I'm honestly just exhausted. The criticism of my cooking was the worst, yes, but it really just overshadowed everything else she always found fault with me on. I tried to have a conversation with her, and naturally, she denied doing anything of the sort, denied ever being rude to me, and even denied retching at my food. She actually tried to gaslight me. She kept asking me questions like, "When did I do that? Tell me the date." Then she called me a hypocrite for being critical of her, hijacked the conversation, and eventually stonewalled me. I've come to realize that I don't really like my wife anymore. She's just such a negative person. It makes me sad, but in the next few days, I'm going to ask her for a divorce. She's not going to like it, but I've come to realize that when she walks into a room I'm in, I get anxious about what she's going to say to me. Thank you for all your comments. I also apologize if this was long-winded. My marriage is falling apart, and I'm not in the best headspace right now. You don't ask your wife for a divorce. You see a lawyer and go through the process. Not the a-hole. I'm sorry to hear how you have been treated, but no one deserves to live like this. You should be with someone who loves you and lifts you up, not tears you down and gets enjoyment out of it. I'd go speak to a lawyer first and get everything in line so you know where you stand and she can't file before you and put lies in. So don't tell her until she's served, or you have the papers to serve her ready. Edit. Thanks for all the advice. I'm getting hate messages from that community again, and I really don't need this as I have to deal with child custody, divorce, assets, and telling my children that mommy and daddy are going to be separating. It's a really stressful time, and they're mocking me in DMs. I'm going to stop checking my inbox on this account, so I won't be reading any more of your comments. Thank you so much for all the support. Next story, update. Am I the a-hole for using information against my mother in court that I know will destroy her mentally and emotionally? Original post. I, 34 female, am involved in a very dramatic court case with my narcissistic mother and stepfather. First, a little backstory. When my sister was 1 and I was 3, my mother initially had custody. However, she went missing for 4 days, leaving my sister and me in the home alone. Investigations were conducted, and we were raised by our father. There was a reunification plan. However, my mother did not follow any of it, and her parental rights were terminated. No one had ever talked negatively about my mother while I was growing up or told me what happened. So when I was 20, I found my mom and decided to develop a relationship with her. Big mistake. After reuniting with my mother, I discovered quite a bit of information that I previously had not known. She is a narcissist, formally diagnosed, specifically a vulnerable narcissist. My stepfather has BPD, also formally diagnosed. This past decade has been torture. Faked cancer. I was made to shave her hair. I had to pay them to watch my 2 children. Constant arguments. The list is too long to name. In 2022, my parents decided to move 15 hours away for a get-rich-quick scheme involving flipping homes. I decided to stay in our hometown because my youngest child's father had died, and I wanted to stay close to his family. Plus, I was already in a year-long relationship. My mother was enraged. After she had already left, she tried everything to get me to move up with them. She asked me how much money it would take to break up with my boyfriend, got me fired from a job, wrote posts online about how mean I am, texted my oldest about me, sent me hundreds of messages each month, etc. This has been going on continuously for about a year. Earlier this year, I was served paperwork. My mother and stepfather are suing me for grandparents' rights. However, no court date was ever sent. My oldest child goes to her father's every break, and when she came back from summer break with him, she was acting very differently. I found out that my mother and my child's father had been in close contact for about a year and a half. They had my daughter speak with my mother, see my mother, and recorded videos of her that my child did not know about. I have sole legal and physical custody, so needless to say, a huge argument happened, and I am now restricting any visitation. As a result of this incident, my mother and stepfather set a court date for a month from now. So here's why I ask if I am the a-hole. For court, I plan on using text messages, where my mother said my stepfather is a danger to children. Text messages from my daughter's father, stating my mother is psychotic, and he would never give our child access to her, and my mother's court records. My mother has over 140 plus charges on her record in 5 different states. My stepfather knows none of it. I'm also using the fact that her parental rights to me were terminated, so legally, she has no rights to my children. My concern is that, knowing she's a narcissist, when I use these documents in court, it will humiliate her and probably turn my stepfather against her. I do worry it's going to trigger a horrible reaction from my mother, possibly the worst. I wish my mother no harm. I just want to be left alone and protect my children. I've been no contact this whole time, hoping it would stop, but it hasn't. I am feeling so conflicted. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Be aware, CPS cleared me after my mom called them on me. With one caveat, if I let my mother back in my kids' lives, CPS would take them. Further, that my letting a known child abuser, my abuser no less, around my children, was an indication that my parenting choices were in question. I'm glad you were cleared. Gives me hope I can get through this too. I'm staying no contact and have no intentions of ever engaging again. Which is why I also told my oldest child's father he will not see her until further notice because he will let my mother around my child. If I can get a restraining order, I will. I'm just trying to get her out of my children's and my life, but with limited fallout. Looks like I can't avoid that, unfortunately. I'm wondering why you remained in contact with your mother once you discovered her issues. I often ask myself the same question. I have never dealt with anyone like her before, and I never lived with her, so I didn't experience a lot of this wrath until I defied her wishes. I wasn't raised around her family, so I didn't know anyone else's experience. I also didn't know a lot of the criminal stuff until I hired a private investigator. The mental illness stuff should have scared me more, but at the time it didn't. Now that I do know everything, I can never let my kids near them again. This is your child. I don't give two craps about your mom or her feelings. Also warn your lawyer. She will lie her butt off and probably already has in the deposition. I might have missed whether your dad is still in your life, and if yes, he might have some skeletons to help you. You don't want some left-wing judge saying, "She made one mistake, I'm giving her visitation." You want to show how horrible she is, so that you get a restraining order preventing her from contacting you or your child, and limit any contact with the father of your child. If you didn't know your mom was nuts, then maybe let him start slow again. I already warned my lawyer. I asked my dad if he knew anything, and it wasn't too much more than I already knew, so I hired a private investigator, and that's how I found out about a lot of the charges. Unfortunately, my child's father knew everything about my mother already and let it happen anyway. I have evidence that my mother paid my child's father in order to see my child. It's a whole mess. Now for the update. I finally have an update on my situation since I last posted about 5 months ago. Court was postponed twice by my mother for reasons I don't know. Then it was postponed a third time due to accusations that I was an unfit mother and that my daughter had suicidal ideations. My mother asked the judge to appoint a guardian ad litem to make sure the children were safe. Court was rescheduled to March 2025. Over the past 5 months, I have been doing nothing but researching my mother. I found she has a total of 19 active warrants, including 3 probation violations. I turned everything over to my lawyer in hopes something would work. 2 days after discovery was turned over to my mother's lawyers, my lawyer called to let me know she officially dropped the case. My children and I met with a guardian ad litem. They told the judge they see no issues whatsoever. After over a year of fighting this, it's finally over. It's been such a tough battle, but I'm so happy my kids are safe and will never have to go through what I have. Thank you to everyone who wrote me personally and commented such positive things. You all have no idea how much it helped me, especially when I was having such an internal struggle. My kids are doing better than ever, and I'm grateful we pushed through. More info. To answer some comments, I have already moved several states away, changed my contact information, and have been no contact for 3.5 years. I am currently working on getting a restraining order, but have been advised by my lawyer that I may not be granted one due to lack of proof. That's frustrating, but I'm still trying anyway. My daughter and I still have had no contact with her father. And other than a very strange Darth Vader text, we haven't heard from him. He's also a couple of states away from us. I also have my daughter into therapy, so I'm hoping she learns how to have better boundaries than I did. I am not going to call the different areas about her warrants yet. My thinking is that she won't make any big moves against me as long as they are active and I know about them. It's something I can hold over her head, just in case she tries something again. I know it's probably not over, but this was a huge win. How does one acquire 19 warrants? She has 30+ aliases and has 200+ charges in 8 different states. All financial-related crimes, identity theft, robbery, fraud, etc. She's a con artist. Contact all the venues for which she has warrants and tell them where she is and how they can find her. Let them take care of it from there. If OP reported the warrants to her lawyer, as an officer of the courts, they are mandated to report the fact that they know. Whether this happens or not, if the warrants are out of state, or are there some in state, who knows? Lawyers do have expectations of confidentiality, but that's only in regards to those paying their bills. The mother wouldn't be covered. What an incredible update. Your strength in fighting for your kids is truly inspiring. I'm relieved to hear the guardian ad litem found no issues. What kept you motivated throughout this journey? What kept me going was my kids, and wanting to break the cycle of toxicity for them. They deserve the world. Hopefully, they will have better boundaries and not find themselves in a similar situation.